Hey everybody, welcome back. So today's video, I want to talk to you about how to go out there and get food during this whole pandemic thing that we have going on here today. And I know many of you have been going to the stores and the stores are sold out of stuff and you're starting to get a little bit nervous, and I see that everywhere in social media. So today I want to talk about 10 things, well, not 5, 10 things that you can do to get food. And they're pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But we're just going to work down the list, and this should hopefully help many of you out. Okay, so the first one is pretty obvious, and some of you may have done that. I did a little bit, but it's stock up beforehand. So before the pandemic hits, you want to get some food. You want to get your shelves stocked. If you have a pantry, get some food. Canned food, dried food, food that you like to eat is a great idea. So I recommend that as much as possible. But hey, we're in the pandemic now. I know what you're saying. It's too late, Rob, right? Like I didn't prepare. I need to get more food. No problem. That's just number one. We got, let's see, 9 more to go. So don't panic. I got more for you. All right. So if you can, have your pantry with a little bit of food in it. That's number one. But if you can't, we'll move to number two. Number two is, go to a store and buy some food. Yeah, I know they're sold out of food, right? So my wife went to Costco. The lineup was crazy. It went all the way down the street and then it doubled back. So don't go to Costco. Or actually, go to Costco, but don't go when everybody else is going. So one of the things I found was that you can go to Costco at the end of the day, just before they close. And right now they are restocking both at night and in the morning, just because of the high demand. Depending on what store you're at, I can't guarantee the timing there. But you may have, well, you definitely will have better luck at a Costco if you go in the evening as far as the crowds. So what you don't want to do is stand in that lineup and get infected just to go and buy some, not great food, because they're going to be sold out of most things. All the meats are sold out and things like that. So if you go in the evening, you're gonna avoid the crowds, which is good. So I would go like 20 minutes before they close. And I'd have my list of things I want to buy. I'd go straight in there and get my stuff and get the hell out of there, right? So, and I recommend always, of course, wearing masks and all your PPE, right? We're beyond the point of you worrying about looking ridiculous, because we all do. So anyway, so if you want to go to Costco, go at the end of the day. That's my recommendation. If you try that, let me know how it works, because I'm not going to Costco, but my wife is and some other people are. And I think that that's a better strategy rather than trying to wait in that ridiculous lineup. So, but if you don't want to go to Costco, or if Costco's sold out, or if they have a huge lineup, no problem. There's plenty of other stores to go to. Remember the old days when we didn't have a Costco? We went to other stores and they were totally fine. So some other stores that I would recommend that I think still have a pretty good selection. Of course, I don't know your town, so I can't say for sure, but some of the places I would recommend is maybe some of the Asian food markets. So there's a Korean food market chain called Kmart. I'm not endorsing any brands or any stores here. I'm just saying what's in my neighborhood. There's a Kmart. Kmart, is it? I think it's H-Mart. Maybe H-Mart. But anyway, I go there sometimes to buy some specialty items. I like eating kimchi. They have a nice selection of kimchi there. I don't know if I would necessarily be buying the same items now that I used to buy. So I would buy all sorts of packaged food that was from their kind of like their Korean deli, and it would be like kimchis and things. Oh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But I enjoy those sort of foods. I don't know if I would buy that now because of the handling and stuff like that. I'd more lean towards factory packaged food right now, just for my own preference right now, just to be safe. But however, if there is any sort of ethnic food market or store near you, sometimes they're very small, and you can go in there and find some great things to eat, right? Some dried noodle, some sauces, some things like that. So I think that that could be a good option. Japanese food stores, Chinese food stores, Korean food stores, Indian food stores, like they all have great food that you can find. And I think that those places could be better stocked. That's what I'm seeing here where I am anyway. So the next thing is to go a little bit out of the city. So I find that some of the places that are a little less busy, a little less densely populated, probably have stores with a little bit more stock. So some of the people that live in the country that I know, I've phoned them and they said, yeah, we're sold out of toilet paper, but we still have plenty of food. And so I think that that's an option, right? So if you have a car and you feel like driving for whatever it is you have to drive, I know for some of you in big cities, that's going to probably take a while. If this gets worse, that may be an option you want to consider. And what I would look at probably is the stores that don't have a lot of people living directly around it, right? And stores that you can get in and out of fairly easily without a lot of interaction. So that's definitely an option there, right? And I think if this goes longer than a few weeks, I'll start to look at my options as far as going out into the country. And there's a bunch of options once you get into the country, right? Which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But as far as stores, we're still on item number 2. I would also look at things that are not, stores that are not grocery stores, stores that don't primarily sell food, which is kind of weird, right? And a lot of people don't think about this, but there's a lot of department stores, even hardware stores that have now kind of branched out and also sell food. Drug stores, all those sort of stores sell food. So in a pinch, you can go in there and get some canned tuna, mostly junk food. I know, mostly junk food, but you can get some okay food there, right? You know, so beggars can't be choosers at this point sometimes, right? Just having my hot fluids, they say that's good for you. So number 1 was stock up beforehand. We didn't do that, not all of us, right? Go to the store and buy some food. Maybe it's not Costco, right? Maybe we or we go to Costco and at the right time. Sorry, I'm just looking at my perimeter cameras there. There's a cat at my door, and which is weird because that never happens. All right, so option number 2 is the stores. Option number 3 is order online, right? So I'm an Amazon Prime member. Again, I'm not advocating that you become an Amazon Prime member. I personally am. I personally make good use of that. If you don't order from Amazon Prime very often, maybe it's not the best deal for you. But for me, I order stuff almost every day. And so for me, the shipping cost alone that I'm saving is ridiculous. So I would recommend it if you're into that. I also get the movies as well. So Amazon Prime movies, whatever it's called. And I sometimes watch that when I'm traveling. So that's another benefit. I wouldn't buy it just for that. I like Netflix better for content, but anyway, that's something to think about. And so they have a lot of food on there. Although what I'm seeing now is that when I want to buy something like a can of tuna or something like that, the cat's gone. Don't know where it went. When I order tuna or something like that, I ordered today actually. I thought, well, I'm almost out of tuna. I don't want to go to the store and buy some. And I looked, and it's going to take like 4 weeks for me to get a can of tuna, which is weird because normally I would get that next day. So there's obviously some delivery problems with even Amazon, which is weird. And so that's not, doesn't make me feel very good. But Amazon is an option, and there's other options similar to Amazon that are probably in your region. So something to take a look at there. So what are we at? 1, 2, 3 was Amazon. Number 4, which is similar to 3 but slightly different, is things like Uber Eats or similar type of food delivery service. I'm not doing that personally, but if you are comfortable in ordering food from a restaurant, maybe you know the restaurant, maybe you know the people, maybe you know that they're totally food safe and they're not sick and everything's good, then that is an option. That service may stop at some point, but well, actually, I don't think it will, because in a lot of countries where they're doing the quarantine, the social distancing and everything like that, they are having food delivered. So those services are actually prospering, and kudos to those companies that are providing those sort of services in a time like this. I think it's fantastic. I think that if they're making money from this, great, because you're definitely providing a social service, almost a critical service at this point, right? So fantastic. I think it's great for us to support those sort of services. If you can get food delivered to your door that you're comfortable in eating, why not, right? I think that can be pretty good. So yeah, so that's number 4. Now we'll move to number 5, which is again similar to number 4, but this is more on the grocery side. So every grocery store these days does food delivery. And so you can call them up and say, hey, I'd like to order, a dozen apples, 6 potatoes, a cabbage, and a can of beans, please. And they will package it up and deliver it to you, which right now, I think is perfect, right? I think that business should take off right now because of the situation we're in. So that could be good. I've never done that before, but I know a lot of people who do. And I've always worried about the selection. When I go in, I want to pick the apples that I'm going to buy. And I can't imagine somebody picking the apples that I want. But maybe you don't think about that. When you just get 6 apples, you don't know if those were the best or the worst apples of the bunch, probably, right? So, and when I buy a bag of potatoes, I always find lousy ones in the bag that I didn't see when I picked them out. So, maybe it's not that bad. And right now, who cares, really? Like, I would just like 6 apples. So I think that's totally fine. So that's number 5 is the grocery food delivery. So during a pandemic, if you need to get food delivered, just get the grocery store to deliver it for you. And I think they do it for free in some places too. So check the cost of that before you do it. But if you can do that, check all the big brands, like the Walmarts and the Costco. I don't know if Costco does it. I think Walmart might. But anyway, take a look. The other thing, now we're moving on to number 6. And now we're going to start to get a little more interesting. So some of those you probably already thought of, and that's cool. Maybe you're already doing them. So if you are, please comment below. Tell me what's working, what's not. We've got a few more weeks of this, maybe even months of this. So I think that as we share these ideas, it's going to help everybody. But now we're going to get into things that you may not have thought of already. And I think these are kind of interesting. So at work, I work in an office of about 300 people. So it's not small, but it's not huge. So we have a bunch of different people there doing different things, which is cool. And I found out that one of the people there has a bunch of chickens. And so I buy my chicken eggs from him, which is great. He'll bring in a couple dozen eggs. I'll give him $5 or whatever it is. And I'm bringing home fresh chicken eggs. So without a pandemic, this is a great idea because you're getting like primo eggs. Almost every egg is a double yolker. The yolks are bright red, super flavorful, nothing like what you buy in a grocery store. So I would pay, don't tell him this, but I would pay double what they sell it for in the grocery store to get his eggs because they're so good. So right now, I'm not actually, ironically, not doing it right now because I'm not going to the office. But if I was, I would be. So, but if you have friends or coworkers who maybe have a farm or at least have chickens or ducks or geese, maybe cows, right? Whatever. I mean, I know if you're in New York or you're in Berlin or you're in wherever, some other big city, unlikely, but you never know. Hey, maybe they have a beehive on the roof and they have fresh honey, right? Stuff like that. It all adds up. I love honey, actually. So, look for those sort of things. Maybe you know a friend of a friend, and you can work that out, right? All right, so what are we on? We're on number 6. We're moving to number 7. Okay, so number 7 is, and we're kind of building off of each other here. They're all kind of similar as I progress through, because number 7 is about animals as well, right? Well, sort of animals, right? So where I live, I'm in the city. So it's a big city, just like you probably, but I'm on the outskirts. I'm in the suburbs. If I go further out, it starts to get more and more rural. And eventually, I'm going to run into farms. And when I go out camping and stuff like that, I drive right past them. So sometimes I pull into those cities and those little towns, and I try to find farmers that are selling their stuff so I can get those contacts, find out who they are. And at a later date, like now, I can call them up and say, hey, can I get like a quarter of a cow, right? Or some fresh milk? Or what, ground beef or ground pork or whatever it is. So I think that for me, that's just, it's amazing. It's great. It's like treasure, right? I love picking up that sort of stuff, getting it right from the farm. And sometimes it's berries. So sometimes I go blueberry picking in the summer. And that's just wonderful. I get a cooler full of blueberries. I'll clean them, then freeze them. Then I put them in my smoothies or just eat them just right out of the freezer, right? So it's fantastic. So berries, meat, eggs, whatever you can imagine, you can usually get from a farm, depending on what they're farming in your area. So, just go on the internet, Google local farms, and you'll be probably surprised what you'll find. And that may open a whole new, area for you to get food. Because once you try it, I'm pretty sure you're going to be amazed at at the quality that you can get. And so take a look. I definitely think since we're all working from home, you've got a little extra time. You're not driving back and forth to work. You got a little time to research these things. So why not, right? Why not take a look at that? Support your local farmers. Probably a good idea. Check that out. I'm sure if you find something, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's number 7. Now, number 8, we're getting into the more exotics here now. And this is what we've been doing over the last 2 months, is we've joined a food group. And I call it a food group, but it may be called something else in your area. You probably just want to Google it or talk to people, go on the forums, wherever you can find. I don't know what you'd Google for that. We accidentally found it. So we now kind of coordinate with a group of people. I think it's about 50 people. And we all pitch in to go and buy food, but we're buying it kind of direct from the producer. Sometimes it's a farm. Sometimes it's somebody who's shipping it in from somewhere else. And we'll buy this whole big thing of food. Sometimes it's eggs, sometimes it's meat, sometimes it's vegetables. And it's great because the quality is really good. And I think a lot of times this is how restaurants get it. So we're kind of going to those sources. I don't manage that. My wife does, so I don't really know all the details of it. But I know that the quality is excellent. It's restaurant grade quality. So sometimes it's fish even, which are really good. It's cheap, so it's not that expensive really, because if restaurants are buying it, they're buying it in bulk. As the food group that we're part of, we're buying it in bulk as well. So that drives down cost. So quality's good, price is good, and then also it's available. It's less available now, so we are starting to see some availability issues with it, but we're still getting it. Whereas if I was to go to the store, I'm going to get, possibly get infected from somebody sneezing on the stuff that I'm buying. It's not going to be a nice experience because it'll be in a lineup. I probably won't find what I'm looking for. So for this, I get exactly what I want, premium quality, cheap, reasonably priced, right? And it's great. So I highly recommend taking a look for that. Look for the food groups that you can be part of, food club, whatever it's called in your area. I think that's probably better than the farm thing, although the farm thing is awesome as well, right? So I really like, what was that? That was number 7 and number 8. I think those two choices, finding the farms in your area, finding a food group or food club in your area, I think both of those are great. You're also in the food club, you're going to meet a lot of people that like to eat the things that you like to eat as well, which could be a cool way to meet friends and that have similar interests, right? So an added bonus. All right, so moving to number 9. Number 9 takes a little more work, and it also means you have to kind of plan for it. It's what I'm doing right now because it's spring, and I've always wanted to do this when I could. So growing a garden. And if you live in an apartment or in a condo, yes, that's going to be difficult, but not impossible. If you have a small balcony, if you have, a foot square of room, you can have a garden, okay? You can grow, you can grow onions in that space. You can grow herbs in that space. For me, we have some raised beds, which I'm going to grow some vegetables in, but I'm going to have some planters as well, where I grow some of the other things, like maybe some tomatoes. When I lived in an apartment, I had tomatoes growing on the deck. No problem, right? Actually, they grow great on a deck, depending on making sure you have enough sunlight there for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's almost anybody could have a small garden, right, where you could grow some essentials. And I highly recommend it. I think it's very rewarding, and plus it gets you a little food. So, and you can grow exactly what you want to grow. Order the seeds, start them indoors before you move them out. And it's a great experience. If you have kids, get them doing it. They learn a lot. It's very rewarding. So, but it takes a few months to do, so you won't be, eating that food tomorrow. Next, let's see. Oh, you know what? We're on number 10. We got there fast, didn't we? All right. So number 10 is, and this is going to surprise you, but this is what I did, and I found food. So, and it's look in your storage areas. Now, okay. Sure, maybe your storage areas are more clean and tidy than mine, but I have stuff hidden all over the house that I'm finding now that I'm cleaning up, right? I'm working from home, so I got 2 extra hours. So I end up kind of cleaning stuff as I'm moving around, stuff that I just never had time for before. And I'm finding a box of granola bars over there. I'm finding a bag of flour over here. Okay, it's not like randomly all over my house. Okay, I'm not a total slob. But I have certain storage areas like under the stairs. I also have in the garage, I bring in stuff that I forgot that I bought. Some of it's like, okay. So this is what I found, okay? I'll be specific. I found a bag full of cans of salmon that I bought a couple months ago. Still totally good, but I think there's got to be 20 cans in there. It went on sale. I went a little crazy, and I bought a whole bunch of cans of salmon. So yeah, not bad, right? I got some avocado. I'm gonna whip that up with a little mayo, put it in a sandwich. I'm good to go, right? So, look around. You may have some stuff that you squirreled away that you just forgot about. So that's number 10. So those are your 10 ways to get food in a pandemic. And I hope that was helpful. I hope you can at least take one of those away with you, and it helps you in this time of uncertainty. But yeah, so thank you very much, and safe travels, and I'll see you later.